Hi guys, welcome to episode 32 of Get Your Buzz On. I have special guest
Elia Esparza, yay!
I'm so excited to have you on, and we have a bottle of Shandon, and which is one of my faves actually, for Champagne.
Oh gosh.
I'm like, hopefully, we'll see how this goes. You know what? I might need... Abby, I think we might need a...
It's not a twist off?
Well, it is, but it's stuck.
Oh, let me try.
Try it out.
Woo!
You got it. I'm like, oh my God. That's what working out does. I don't work out. So
I'm like, just kidding.
You're like, I got it.
Oh, fun.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Like, we're going to get into the nitty gritty after we have some sips of some bubbly.
I haven't drank in a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't really drink, like, often.
You're like...
But I will today.
Yay!
Cheers! Yum.
But this one's lighter, so it's not
Yeah,
too...
I like it.
It's not too crazy.
I like it for, like, a before noon situation.
It's like, I don't feel like it's so much alcoholic, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So tell us about yourself. What do you do? The way I found you was through Instagram. I saw one of your videos because you have such a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
And that's when I was like, I gotta have her on.
Yeah, well, my name is Elia Esparza, and I'm a singer, songwriter, and content creator. So I was featured, I'm most known for like being on The Voice a couple years ago, and then I also did La Voz Mexico, but I have my own original music on Spotify and anywhere you stream music, and I also create YouTube videos.
Oh, well, and then this place is really awesome.
Yeah, so we're in Beacon Hill Recording Studios, and this is actually where like Khalid recorded Location, and a lot of local artists come here. So it's kind of, I feel like to me it's not a hidden gem, but it is a hidden gem because people still don't know that we have like this world-class studio right here in our city. So it's really cool.
I had no idea, honestly, because when you sent the address, I was like, oh, I mean, I knew where, like, the location, but I didn't know, like, this was actually here.
Yeah.
So, it's a really cool spot. If you guys haven't been, you should check it out for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. Like, I think right now they're allowing people to, like, still book sessions, but you're working with they're Grammy nominated, so... It's pretty cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, that's super.
You should interview them next.
whoever you can set up that is like, wants to, I can be a little bit cool with.
Yeah,
you can do that.
for sure.
So tell us about yourself. When did you start singing, or how did that come about?
So I started singing, I started voice lessons, I think when I was like 8 years old, and had my first like performance when I was like 9 or 10. And it's just always been a passion for me. My first CD was like Mariah Carey's #1 hits.
Aww.
Like I'm a big, like, I love the divas, Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, all of those singers. And so I grew up on that kind of music and obviously did like, you know, choir and theater in high school. And then when I was 17, I moved to New York to go to the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts. So I've always been like kind of like a dramatic person. It's so funny because like now, well, I'll backtrack, but I went to New York and I basically was doing, you know, like commercials, different things like that, student films, and then I just got more into music as I was meeting people and producers, and so I started working around different studios in New York and really started like creating my own music and putting myself out there, and then I decided, I was like, even though I love acting, and I would totally act, cast me.
You're like, call me.
I just felt like music was like, me, like it's just, I love the process of bringing an idea to life and then including visuals and, you know, text and everything. And so for me, like, creating music has always been very natural to me. And along the ways, like, I have a YouTube channel where I mostly put covers up or like different videos of me singing, but I've kind of started to dive into more like tutorials and vlogs and sharing my lifestyle and health, because it's also been a low-key dream of me to like host things. And so like I've delved into podcasts, I've delved into like YouTube and different things like that. So I'm just like a creative person. But for sure, like, music is like my main dream.
So and it's cool because you try different outlets, so you're able to still be creative, but you have your different options that you can do.
Yeah.
Instead of just music or just vlog or just one thing.
Yeah.
So, well, and so with New York, what did you learn from New York?
Oh gosh, I learned a lot.
At 17,
yeah.
that's young.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very grateful because I think I didn't realize how fast it would make me grow up.
Yeah.
But I think I learned a lot of fundamentals as far as like working hard, hustling.
Yeah.
Like I worked like 4 to 5 different jobs, plus going to school, plus going to the studio, and like there wasn't really an option not to. Like you just had to do it. You just had to make it happen. And so I think that mentality and that workflow will always be instilled in me because it's kind of like a bad thing in the sense of like I never think it's enough.
Yeah.
But then again, I think it pushes me to keep going, keep creating, keep doing things even when I feel like it's not good enough because I never know what the next thing is going to be type of situation. But it's definitely like a hustler mentality that I learned from New York, and if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
That's true.
So cheesy, but it's so true.
I bet. Well, and what did your parents say when you said you were going to go out there?
My parents have always been really supportive. I'm very grateful. They've always been supportive in my dreams and whatever I wanted to pursue in music. They've always believed in me. Obviously, they were probably like really nervous, but I wasn't. It's so weird because they'd never let me go out like in high school, like in parties. I didn't like drink or do any of that stuff, but they let me move to New York. So.
Well, that's probably because they're like, well, at least she won't be like tempted, or I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think they just saw kind of like I've always ran my own course. I've always just like had an idea and gone for it without hesitating so much. So I think they knew I was mature enough, even though I probably wasn't. Like, I don't know if I would let my kid go at 17 to New York, but I think they trusted me enough to be able to navigate and, figure it out.
Yeah, because I mean, I was the polar opposite. I went to college and then I just partied my ass off for 4 years.
Yeah.
And I told my parents, you know what? It gave me the social skills I need now. So it
There
worked
you
out.
go. There you go.
But yeah, it was. I think it's so much fun to just get out of El Paso for a little bit. And, I tell anyone that when they're in a city to, like, get out and experience different places, and then that way you can appreciate, too, what the city brings.
Oh, for sure. I mean, when I moved back, I was like, wow, like, El Paso has grown so much. Obviously, there were things that, like, New York has that El Paso doesn't have, but I was also able to appreciate the sort of calmness and more peaceful lifestyle. Because I was such a go, 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 and the energy of the city, and you're up all night, and you're up all day. And here I feel like I had the drive of New York, but I also had the stillness and kind of mental break that I needed.
Yeah.
Because at the time that I moved back, I like really needed to get out of New York. You know, like I was like done.
Just overwhelmed.
Yeah, I was just like so overwhelmed. I dropped like 20 pounds when I moved here. Yeah. Like I was so stressed. I was so like high strung that I didn't even work out or do anything. I just like immediately dropped 20 pounds. It was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So what made you come back?
So I got on The Voice.
Okay.
And so when I got on The Voice, they were like, you're going to be in LA for about like 3 to 5 months. And so at the time, I was like, well, I can't afford to pay for my apartment and do all of that. And so I was like, you know what? I'll just put my stuff in storage, and I'll head to LA and see what happens. And so I went to LA with like 2 giant suitcases, like basically all my clothing, and I left like a lot of, my other stuff in a storage. And I did The Voice, and it was like an insane experience. And then once I was done, I was like, I feel like I should take this time to like go home and be with my family because... Yeah. Leaving at 17, I missed out on a lot of moments with my family, and I'm a huge family person. Like, my parents and my brother, like, we're really close.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I'll just go back to El Paso, chill out for a bit, figure out my next move, whether I want to go to LA or New York or, like, figure it out.
Yeah.
But once I got here and the show aired, it really, like, just opened the doors for a lot of opportunity. And then I met the people here at Beacon Hill Recording Studios, and it felt so meant to be that, like, you know what, maybe you'll be here and you'll get a lot. I was like, I've been booked since I got off the show and have been able to sing at different events like the Sunday Hun Bowl and like the UTEP, and I've opened for artists that come through here. I've been able to work on music here and still be with my family, and just so many things that I was like, wow, I'd never realized like all of this could happen in El Paso. Yeah. And so I've definitely gone back a lot to New York and to LA for different work reasons. And so partially it's like I get to live kind of the best of both worlds in the sense of like I can have the concentrated, calm stillness feeling here and then still go out into the city and do what I need to do.
So how was The Voice? How was that like? What, like, that's a crazy experience.
Yeah. Looking back at it now, I'm like, wow, I was like not prepared. Like, I can't believe they chose me.
Like how does that happen? Like, how does that even start?
So,
because I know nothing about any of that stuff. So you have to talk to me like, like I don't know any of that stuff. So
I auditioned several times for The Voice and American Idol and all those shows when I was younger. And then I remember I auditioned when I was like 18, and I auditioned when I was like 22, I want to say. And I never made it past like there's like producer rounds, right? Like you don't actually meet the judges until like way later.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like it's not.
You don't just like stand in line.
Yeah, you don't like, oh, I'm meeting all these famous people. No, it's like a long process. And I never made it past. And I was like, you know what? Maybe that's just not the road for me, and that's fine. And then one day I just got a call out of nowhere. And this is when I had recently started uploading videos on YouTube, like of me singing.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, we found you on YouTube. We saw that you auditioned a few years ago. Would you like to be on the show? And I was like, what? And I was like, absolutely. And from there, I got on the show. I met so many amazing people on the show who I'm still friends with today, who are all over the place, like LA, Nashville, New York. And it was an insane experience, and I never thought that it would like completely change my life, but it did. And it was really my first national exposure.
Yeah.
International, I should say, because The Voice is the #1 show in the world. And so it's the American one is the most watched one, whether it's like the recaps on YouTube or like actually watched live. So it was like, I did not expect it to like take me to the next level of my career, but it really did. And it really kind of just set up the next few years of my life to continue pursuing music and kind of give me that credibility, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it's just something different. Like, not a lot of people can say that they were on that show and, you know, been through that process.
Yeah.
So how did they, when you're singing and you're competing, how far did you get along, or how?
I got up to the knockouts. So I would say that's like the third round for people who don't watch the show. So like you make the blind audition. I was on Adam Levine's team. He's really cute. And if you were wondering.
Well, I mean, you saw my head. I was like,
he was really cool. I do wish, though, I had gone with Miley Cyrus.
Really?
Yes. I think she's, like, badass. Sorry, can we cuss on here? Sorry.
Yeah.
I think she's so cool and genuine, and maybe she's not everyone's cup of tea, but, like, now that I've seen her throughout her career and, like, thinking back on it now, is like, I should have gone with her because she was, like, so in it, like, there for her team and, like, really interactive. And I think when you're on these, now that I've been on several shows, I'm like, the show, even if you win, it doesn't guarantee you're going to be a star.
No.
It's really just like what you can take, experience, connections, all of that, and exposure, and just milk the hell out of it as much as you can. Because I know a lot of the winners, even on different shows, it's crazy because it's such a small world. Yeah. Because I have friends that have been on like The Four or American Idol or like America's Next Got Talent, all the shows, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just interesting to see who is really good at milking that and like taking advantage of it, and who like, oh, they won, and then like you never hear about them again. So it's not like a end all be all, now you're a star. It's really how you take the approach with it.
So did you get to meet each coach, or you just dealt with Adam and that
was it?
Well,
I briefly met each coach.
Okay.
But I mostly dealt with Adam.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Were you like starstruck?
I wasn't really starstruck. I mean, I was definitely like, whoa, this is like so crazy. I love Maroon 5. Like, yeah. And I love Adam Levine, and it was just so surreal, but it felt like I was supposed to be there. Huh. So.
What's a lot of people, what they don't know about him?
He's super dry humor.
Really?
Yeah, like he has this very like dry tone to him, but he's you know he means well. It's just like fun. It's interesting because you're just like, I'm afraid of you. Like, are you being serious? But,
you're like,
so you're just like, like nervously laugh. But no, he's really sweet and he's really cool and but very dry humored kind of guy. Yeah.
So who were the coaches on the show when you were?
It was Miley Cyrus, Alicia Keys, and Blake Shelton.
I love Blake.
Oh yeah, a lot of people love him. You know what? My mom and my Thea were there at the audition with me, and he's so tall.
Oh,
And,
really?
Yeah,
I didn't
he's
know that.
so freaking tall. Like, you're like that. And he's like a lot more handsome in person than on the show. I don't know why. Like,
I just think because he's like a real guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, he just seems really cool. And actually, one of his songs is like my wedding song.
Aww.
That we danced to.
Which one?
God Gave Me You.
Oh, okay.
So that was like my wedding song. So I always love him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy. That is such a crazy thing that you can always say. And I mean, I'm sure that you had so many different feelings when you went into it and everything.
Yeah.
So how long ago was that?
Oh, that was like 4 years ago.
Oh my gosh. And it just goes so fast.
It really does. Because then the following year I did La Voz Mexico, which is The Voice Mexico. And that was a whole other crazy experience. And then the following year I did American Idol.
Oh, wow.
So like it was like kind of like a few years of just doing these crazy shows. And they're all so very different. And I got to meet like Katy Perry, Luke Bryan, and Lionel Richie on American Idol. And then I got to meet Maluma and Laura Pausini on La Voz. So like it's just like a crazy...
Who were your favorites besides Miley? Like
American Idol? Laura Pausini was my coach on La Voz, and she's incredible. Do you know who she is? Okay, she's this famous... No, it's okay. I didn't know who she was either before like the show.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is wrong with me? She's an incredible singer, and she's actually Italian. She's the first Italian to get a Grammy.
Oh.
And after the show, she invited me to open up for her concert in LA at the Greek Theater. So she was like so hands-on.
Yeah.
Like I could message her on Instagram status and like I never talked to Adam again, but you know, like I never talked to him.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean I didn't expect to, but like with her it was more like personal.
Yeah.
And to the point where like she was helping me choose wardrobe and things like that. And she's just an incredible vocalist. She does all her albums in Spanish and Italian. And I guess she's like huge in Mexico and definitely huge in Italy. So I got to open up for her about a year later, and then Katy Perry was pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah, I think she's also like she's a badass.
She I liked how her music has evolved too.
Yeah.
She's just like, you know, you can tell how her style and just everything just changed as she's gotten older too.
Yeah, like she just does her thing, and I appreciated that when I was on Idol, I felt the most honest.
Yeah.
Without like being critical, but without being like rude.
Not like
but
Simon.
Just being real, you know? And I feel like a lot of these shows are like, you know, that was great. Like I really felt your emotion but you lost. Like she was more like, yeah, you were a little off pitch and like you could have given me a little more here or there. And I appreciate that much more than just like the fluff and like, you're great, keep going. Like,
well, how do you handle like the rejection and all that stuff?
I mean, I feel like
Did you just get used to it as you got
I don't think you ever really get used to rejection because you secretly inside just want to succeed, of course. But I think even going into acting at 17 and going to auditions, like I was already accustomed to hearing no. So I'm at the point now where I'm just like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's still, I still take it to heart when I know if it's coming from a good place or like from someone I trust. Because as far as criticism from like random people on YouTube or Instagram, like I'm just like, you don't know who I am. That's cool. That's great. But when it comes from people you trust and people you admire, they're like, hey, like you really need to do this or that. Like I definitely take it to heart. I'm a sensitive soul.
Yeah.
But as far as like when it comes to auditioning or like going after things that I want, and if I don't get them, I don't let it stop me. I've never let it stop me. I've never let it dwell either. Even when I lost on The Voice, I came here, like you literally lose and they're like, great, where do you want to fly to? Like, where do we make your ticket to?
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's like.
And then you can't tell anyone, right?
No, you can't tell anyone. Yeah. So the next day, I think we like flew back here, and I was just like, okay, well, if I'm gonna be in El Paso, then I better like figure out. I better do something.
So do you help a lot of the younger artists too when they come in through here?
Yeah, before the pandemic, I've definitely like worked with a few artists that have come through here, especially younger, just because they need a lot of guidance, and it's something I wish I had a little bit more of, but you know, at the time it wasn't really like available. So, and I also teach voice lessons. So with my students, they're always like, oh, like I want to audition for this show and this and that. So I always try and help out any information I can give out. Like it's definitely, I love to help people because it's things I wish I knew going in beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to music, did you have anyone in your family that was into music, or how did you get started to do that?
Well, both of my parents sing. Both of my
Oh.
parents can sing, and they were always playing music. My mom listens to more like traditional like Mexican music, but my dad definitely introduced me to like Queen and the Bee Gees and like Aretha Franklin, and so like more that like classic rock and jazz and R&B stuff. And so I was definitely like into that. I'm still into that.
Yeah. You're like,
And so growing up, I had kind of like those influences along with like the pop influence of like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera and things like that. I like love 90s music.
Oh, I do
and like
too.
early 2000s, like it's just that's my go-to.
That's your jam.
Yeah. And I always make references to it, and they're like, that's so out of style. I'm like, I don't care. But yeah, both
it's coming back though.
Yeah, I mean everything cycles back
Yeah.
in a new way. So I don't think any of those like any influences you like are brought up with like ever go to waste because it's just always a new take. And like even I would say like younger people today don't realize like a lot of the songs you hear on the radio are older songs redone.
Yeah.
You know, which is crazy. And I'm like, hey, that's that song. That's not an original. But
And
like,
they're like, what?
they're like, oh, do you know this song? Yeah. But definitely my parents, I would say, and I also just like was always listening to music. I was always like buying the CDs, and I was always into it.
Where did you go to high school here?
I went to America's High School.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So were you in the music in there? Or?
Yeah. I was in choir and I was in theater.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, okay. Do you
Yeah.
still have your friends over there that you still
Yeah,
talk to?
I actually like, I would say like my small group of like friends were still really close to this day.
Mm.
Yeah, like I don't talk to like a lot of people from high school.
Yeah.
Other than like I see them on social media and
Yeah.
stuff, but as far as like my close friends, like they're my friends from high school.
So forever.
Yeah.
So what are some of the newer artists that you like?
Oh, I love Dua Lipa, SZA, Kehlani, Halsey. Like I like a lot of women
Yeah.
artists. I love the 1975 though, and I love Lainey and those like bands as well.
What would be your like ideal duo that you would love to work with? Like
Celine Dion.
oh yeah,
Like-
her voice is.
I could cry.
Have you seen her?
So I had tickets to go to her concert in March in Arizona. I was like, I told my boyfriend, I was like, we're going. We're
You're
doing
like,
it.
I don't care.
Yeah,
Come
she
home.
was there like in Vegas for years and I never went. And I was like, I'm going, we're going. We got tickets. And the concert was supposed to be on like the 29th or the 28th. And of course, like on the 15th, everything shut down. And I was like, no.
Oh.
But it did get rescheduled. So I will see Celine Dion one day.
What? So have they told you anything about that? Or no?
Yeah, they actually just rescheduled it for next year, like a year from now.
You're like,
I'm like,
holding on.
okay, I'll wait for you, Celine. But Celine Dion is like my ultimate, like if Whitney was around, of course her too. But
Yeah.
I just think Celine has such grace and she's just really upheld her artistry for so many years. You know, she never like went off the rails or like she can still sing and like I think she has a personality. I just love her. I love her. She's like my ultimate.
She does, and she's got such a beautiful voice.
Yeah, yeah.
So have you ever been like starstruck when you've met some of these artists?
Oh man.
Like I feel like if I met one of them, I would be like a deer in headlights.
I mean, I definitely like get nervous.
Yeah.
Like definitely like.
But you don't want to be like that weird fan. That's
Yeah,
like, can I get an
but I
autograph?
keep it cool. You know, I'm not
Yeah,
like. "Ah, I
like
love
this
you."
happens
Yeah.
all the time. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
just like I've definitely been able to meet a lot of celebrities, which is cool. but I always keep it cool. If that makes sense.
You're like, I
Although, when I was like on Idol and they told us we weren't going through, I cried, and then I was like, I'm going to ask Katy Perry for a picture, even though I look like crap. Like, I need this photo.
You're like, I need people to know that.
Yeah, I was like, this happened.
That's hilarious.
And I look horrible, but I was like, it's a picture with Katy Perry, so.
Yeah. You're like, it's fine.
Yeah.
So who, have you been starstruck with any of them? Or like,
I've definitely been nervous with all of them, like, for sure, like, heart pounding. I would probably say, yeah, like, Katy Perry was, like, really cool to me.
Yeah.
And talk to, and she's gorgeous, and you're just like, wow, I spent so many years listening to your albums in my room, and now you're in front of me. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a larger than life thing. You're just
yeah. Yeah. But I don't get, like, to the point where I can't speak or anything.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, I actually won't approach. If I see a celebrity, I'm like, unless it's, like, the right setting, I don't like to be like, hey, like,
yeah,
I'm a huge fan.
No.
But I also, right before the pandemic, I went to LA and I met Kevin Garrett, who is more of like an underground indie artist, but I've been listening to his music for like years, like ever since he started, like with his first few songs, like, and he did this small little show in LA, and I got to meet him afterwards, and he was like, oh, you're Elia. And I was like, what? Yeah, I definitely got, like, not starstruck, but I was like, you know me? And probably because I've followed him for so long and always have interacted, like, with his stuff. And I was like, wow, like, that's pretty cool. I mean, he's not, like, a Rihanna, Katy Perry levels type of star, but because you feel so connected to an artist when you listen to their music that it just feels like a special moment when you are able to, like, actually meet them and then they recognize you. So that was pretty cool.
So what advice do you have for anyone that's wanting to get in the music business?
Oh, man, don't. I'm just kidding.
I'm like, I'm sure you've got a laundry list of stuff.
I would say I've always said this because I think it's, like, my personal mantra of, like, just start with what you have.
Yeah.
I started with, like, an iPhone 3, if that, and put up horrible videos on YouTube. But that was, like, the first step of me putting myself out there.
Yeah.
And getting over the nerves and getting over, like, oh, my God, what are people going to think? Oh, I sound horrible, this and that. And so you start with what you have, and then you slowly start to adjust and improve and get better, because I feel like everyone thinks that it's, like, from one day to the next, I had 1 million followers, and I'm, like, signed and all this stuff, and it doesn't work like that. It's really just like, oh, I started with what I had. Yeah. And so anyone who wants to be like an artist or even like a content creator, I feel like it's so intimidating because there's so many artists and there's so many influencers and there's so many YouTubers. But at the same time, like, there is space for everyone. And you, the more you focus on, like, oh, how can I be different, or how can I do this or that, and just focus on, like, I'm just gonna be myself, as cheesy as that sounds. Yeah. But, like, actually just doing the work, because I've noticed a lot throughout, like, my career and figuring out, you know, what I'm doing is, like, a lot of people just don't show up.
Yeah.
They say they're gonna do something and they just never do it. And so if you just do it, whatever it is, whether it's writing a song or recording a song, putting it out there, like, when I first started putting my stuff out there, I had no idea what I was doing. Yeah. But I like to learn along the way. I like to kind of throw things out there and see what sticks and pivot and adjust. And, like, I think this idea of, like, trying to have everything super perfect and everything, like, you know, in place is not, well, first of all, it's not real, but it's also not what anyone wants to see anymore. We don't want to see the super produced picture perfect of everything. We want to see the reality. And well, that's personally what I want to see. I want to see, like, the process, the struggle, the journey. Yeah. How did you do it? Like, so I can learn from that and attempt my own way. But I would just say start with what you have. Just it's, I mean, if you don't have money, if you don't have, you know, producers, if you don't have a huge studio, like, you will get there. It's just taking those first steps.
I think people get stuck on, well, I don't have this camera, or I don't have this mic, or I don't have this. Yeah. And I think the thing is, like, when you're doing any type of social media stuff, you just have to just do it and be consistent. I think that's the thing that I've noticed with a lot of people that they start doing the social media and then they completely stop. And you have to continue everything.
Yeah.
It's like the nature of the beast. You constantly have to be doing everything. And I think, I just think consistency is always key in whatever you do, so you can build that brand.
Yeah. I mean, also you just have to like try things out and be like, that doesn't work for me, so I'm not going to do that. Like, I wish I could have like the perfect aesthetically pleasing feed on Instagram, but I just can't. Like, I'm just such a, like, I always get new ideas and themes and like all this stuff. Like, I'm like, I'm this person and I'm this person, and like, and I don't like the idea of like, I understand like the idea of branding, right? But, and some people are just great at sticking to what they are, and that's so cool, but I'm not one thing. You know, I'm like, some days I'm a space cowgirl, and other days like I'm freaking, I don't know, like I want to be Kylie Kardashian or Kylie whatever her name is. You know what I mean? Like some days I'm just like super crazy, but lots of colors, and other times I'm like, I'm just monotone, I'm chill. And like,
well, because you see some of them that stick to the same colors, that stick to the
and
same.
it's smart because that's what people want. We want to
consistency.
We want to just like look at you and be like, this is what you are. Great. But it's so hard for me to just be one thing.
Well, it is, because then life happens, or you change too, and you might not like these things, or you might like find new interests, and then you want to tell everybody how it is. So I agree. I'm totally agreeing with that. So what is something that a lot of people don't know about you? Because I know you share a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people don't know that I went to acting school.
Oh, they no.
Yeah. Even though I don't talk about it like every day, but I think a lot of people don't know that I went to acting school and that I lived in New York for 6 years. Because during that time, social media was like, Instagram came out like when I got out of college. Type of time frame. And so, and even then it wasn't like today where you're posting and stories and all of the things. It was just kind of like, here's a picture, like with this horrible filter on it, you know, like here's this. And so I think a lot, like people started to like more follow me and get to know me after The Voice. And I was already living here. And so they saw me more as like music, which is great, which is what I want. But I think people, on social media, there's not a lot of history of where to see like, oh, she lived in New York for 6 years and she lived in a studio with 5 people and, you know, all these other experiences. So I think a lot of people don't associate me with like, oh, she's an actress as well, and she's like done like media and she's been doing this for a while.
So how was acting?
I'm
like, sorry. I'm like,
no, it's fine.
I had no idea. I was just like,
see, it's like not really I think what I gained most from acting school is being able to be present. And that's the whole idea of acting, right? I used to think it was like, I mean, theater acting is completely different from film, and I love both. But I think when it comes down to it, as far as like performance, connecting to the text, connecting to your audience, connecting to whoever you're speaking to, has really helped me in my performance and in my songwriting. And performing on a stage is completely different than recording in a studio. So being able to kind of take those emotions, take these things that the story, it's all storytelling. Right? So I'm telling a story when I'm acting, I'm telling a story when I'm on stage or songwriting or, you know, in the booth with my voice. It's just in different mediums. But I love acting. I mean, I love film and the theater, and I really wanted to do musical theater when I was younger. Who knows? Maybe I still will. But
you never know.
Yeah, like it's definitely in me for sure. I think when I was younger, I was definitely more adamant about like being a musical theater actress. But it's definitely helped me be more theatrical in even like choices as an artist, because I feel like a lot of artists I see like up and coming are just trying to be so like mysterious and this and that, and like, oh, I'm just wearing a t-shirt, like, which is fine, you know, but like to me I'm like, oh, I love when Lady Gaga goes crazy and does some weird stuff. Like I think we need both, you know what I mean? Like you need those out of the box artists, and you need the more like, I'm just sitting here in jeans and a t-shirt and singing a song. I like, and personally I like to go from both spectrums. Like I like to come up with crazy things and then also just like strip down type of
that's why I like Cardi B, because she just throws it all out there. I like
Yeah. Carter's
She's
crazy.
the woman inside me that just wants to come out, you know?
There you
and
go.
So,
yeah.
I appreciate her as like the artist that she is, you know?
Yeah.
But that's why I do like that too. So I agree with you. There's certain things that like, okay, I want to listen to some chill music, but I also want, the personality behind it too.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna spill the tea. Are you single, married? What's the deal?
Well, I live with my boyfriend, so
Okay.
I'm definitely not single. But I'm not married.
Okay.
But we've been together for 2 years, and he's also a musician, so we share a lot of the same dreams and ideas, and it's been really great.
How's that like to have two musicians?
I mean, it gets hard sometimes because he is actually like, he's older than me, so he comes from a different like era of music.
Yeah.
So to him, and he comes from a different style. He does country,
okay.
and he did do like rock music before. So what he thinks is great is not what I listen to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've always been astounded by like lyrics and vocals, and he's astounded by production and guitar.
Yeah.
Definitely. So sometimes we kind of clash in that sense, but it's really great because I have someone, he's so supportive and I'm so supportive of him that any successes he has is my success and anything I have is his. And I think we've really, so it's funny because we actually met at a show, we met at a gig, and then I asked him if he could play for me, like gigs with me.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of developed into like a really good friendship, and then it was just inevitable that we were like in love with each other.
Oh.
And he's truly my best friend, so we get in like little arguments about music, and I'm younger, so I'm like more aware of like the trends, or I'm kind of like into them, and he's like, this is not music, you know? So sometimes we have our differences.
You're like, I have to go with the trends a little bit too.
Yeah, but it's also nice to have someone who's coming from a more like analytical and classical place, and so I take his opinions and he takes mine, and we kind of like balance each other out. But it's nice because I don't think I could just like date like an accountant. Like I think
what are you doing?
like I think it'd be weird. I mean, not that it's not possible, but I think I was destined to end up with someone creative.
Yeah.
In whatever realm that may mean, but of course I'd end up with a guitar player. Like,
you're like, of course.
Like, of course. When I used to go like in New York and out to shows and be like with the band and all that, I was always like, there in the scene, and I was like, of course I would end up with a guitar player.
Yeah.
And it's just great because he's a great guy, and we respect each other as people and then also as musicians. And it's he's definitely the one to tell me like, this isn't good. Like he tells me the truth and it sucks, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're like, it's hard to hear, especially when it's two musicians too. Cause
it's like, you don't even know.
And it's not some random person, so you're just
I really like trust his opinion and his, especially when it comes to music, and so it's hard sometimes, but it's much more fun than anything.
So like when he had gigs and you had gigs, how did that work out?
Well, at the time we weren't living together.
Okay.
I actually moved in during the pandemic because we were just like, we should just
move in together.
Do this, yeah. And it kind of like balanced itself out because for him, his gigs were more out of town. So he was traveling a lot, touring all over the country. And me, I was just, around the city. So it kind of worked out in the sense of like, well, we're both working. It's our work. And so it didn't feel like I'm just sitting here waiting for him to come home status. And it also gave a good balance, I think, especially like in the first year of our relationship, to like, I've always been a really independent person. Like, I've always like had to do my own thing. Like I have to get these things done, and like, of course, always have fun and be with my friends and stuff. But like, I've always been like, I need to get my stuff done.
Yeah.
And so it was a nice kind of like introduction to being with someone in a serious relationship because I wasn't used to that.
Yeah.
But it was nice because it was like, okay, you go out of town, I'm going to do this, this, and this while you're out of town. And when you're in town, we balance being together, hanging out, and then also working on music ourselves. And now, since the pandemic, it's kind of been nice that we have this time together.
Yeah.
But I'm already like mentally preparing for him not to be there. But I think it helps that I kind of carry my own like I've never wanted to be like reliant on anyone. And even though he's like my partner and my best friend and I do rely on him, it's more like I can still function even if he's on tour or working, because I know he's going after his dream as well too.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want anyone to hold me back, because I've actually been traveling more than he has.
Oh, wow.
Going back and forth to LA for work and different things like that. And so it's been like an interesting balance, and I think it'll always shift, but we trust each other, and it's like, I think we find a good balance in that. Yeah.
That's awesome. So what are the other things that you're interested, like what are you interested in? Are you interested in health and fitness as well?
Oh yeah, I'm like a huge health freak. I'm actually getting my personal training, what's it called? I'm actually getting my personal training certification.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I just love fitness and health and wellness, and I've always been into it, but I think when I moved back here, I got a trainer. Her name is Lizzie Martinez, and she and her husband own a gym on the west side. It's called Sun City Athletic Club, and it was the first gym that I ever went to that I felt like there was a community there.
Really?
Yeah, because like I always went to like the more like brand,
like the Anytime or
like the brand gyms, and they're fine, but like I never spoke to anyone or anything. And at that gym, I started training with her, and she completely changed my outlook on fitness and my body and like weightlifting and things like that. So I've been super into it for the past like 3 or 4 years, and so much that I wanted to get a certification in it, just because I enjoy learning about the body and wellness and health. So that's definitely like a huge, I guess, hobby for me. It's definitely like a stress relief, and it's a huge priority in my life. And I also think it really attributes a lot to me as a performer and me as a vocalist. Yeah.
Just to keep that healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, and I love, like, anytime I go travel somewhere, I try to go on a hike or some sort of, like, outdoor excursion. I love being outdoors. I love being in nature. And so that's, like, kind of hand in hand with, like, the health and fitness. But I pretty much make music, I create content, and I like work out.
Yeah. That doesn't sound like too bad of a gig.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Yeah.
I was like, I wish I could, with me and like working out and stuff, I just hate working out.
Really?
I hate it. I've never been someone to go to the gym or anything like that. And then this week, actually, I just started just walking.
Yeah.
Like, and I hadn't been in since I had 4 years. I haven't worked out in 4 years. So
I'm like, sorry, I'm like
I love
just
your
because
face.
that would give me anxiety. Like, not even anything to do with like your weight or
just like you're like, how? So I haven't worked out in 4 years. So I was like, okay, I need to just start like getting some kind of physical activity in my everyday. And when you have kids, you're running around all over the place. So I was like, I just need to make like some time. But yeah, so I feel like a grandma at the park walking yesterday. I was like, okay, I'm done. 30 minutes in. But yeah, it's tough to keep it all balanced out.
Yeah, I think people don't realize how much just physically like moving your body, going for walks, stretching, yoga, even Pilates, or like you don't have to do intense CrossFit to be healthy. How much it improves your mental state along with your physical state. Because for me, I'm such a like go person that the gym or working out or even going for a walk is my time to just like relax, kind of get my day started, get my thoughts in order, for me personally. And I know not everyone likes to work out, or like people are like, ugh, how do you even like do that? But I genuinely enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty lucky that Mark, my boyfriend, also
likes it,
enjoys it a lot. Yeah. Because I think when I was in acting school, I kind of went through this like weird phase where they wanted you to lose weight, and I was going through all these diets, and like that's when it kind of first started, of like probably like very unhealthy habits as far as like not starvation, but like not eating as what my body needed, and restricting myself and all of that, and that really affected me mentally. So the point where I got to a point where I was like, I'm just going to eat foods that I genuinely enjoy, that are good for me, and that make me feel good, So like I like to eat healthy because it's just, I genuinely like, it's not like I'm trying to be skinny, I want a salad. if I want a cookie or cake or whatever, alcohol, like, I will have it.
Yeah.
If I don't want it, I won't have it. So for me, it's just like, it's definitely a mental thing for me.
So it's more of like a lifestyle that you're wanting to
Yeah,
have.
like I don't follow like a specific diet, or I'm not restrictive in any way. And I think a lot, especially like younger culture that sees a lot of kids on TikTok, for instance, like how I lost weight of like chewing gum and like drinking water. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, like, that's not how it works.
Yeah, and it's very unhealthy. And so like for me to be able to like learn about those things and then eventually be able to teach other people about that with like the certification, it's just like another joy for me. It really doesn't feel like any kind of work, or it's just another passion.
So what are some of the diet trends that you're like annoyed with, that you're just like, come on?
I think that like any diet that completely cuts out a macronutrient, so it's like protein, carbs, and fat, right? So anything that's like only fat, only carbs, only protein, I think that eventually your body was made to like need all of them.
Yeah.
There's a reason why those are the top 3. And so I think that like, I haven't personally tried keto, so I can't even say like, that's not my, like, don't do it.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of people have a lot of success with keto, but I just wouldn't, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm like, so you just have 0 carbs and a bunch of dairy and meat. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So something like that, like, I wouldn't personally try because I already know that wouldn't work for me. Like, I don't do dairy just because I don't like milk. I don't like cheese. It's not because, like, it's bad for me. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
And it's also not good for me as a singer. So I've just never liked dairy, but I think dairy is just probably, like, the one thing that I'm, like, okay with people cutting out. I'm like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have dairy.
Yeah.
Again, like, it's kind of a balance, and different things work for different people.
Yeah.
So I don't ever want to say, like, I know veganism for me would probably not work. Like, I was vegan for a year, and I suffered a lot because I was not supplementing myself correctly.
Yeah.
Like, my skin, hair, nails, a lot of things suffered because I was not
getting the right nutrients.
I was not getting the right nutrients, and I was not properly, like, involved in learning on, like, how to properly nutrient myself. Like, as far as, oh, you're not going to get protein from any kind of like animal products, so you need to like supplement that. But for some people it works great. So it just really depends on like what works for you. And for me, it's just having like a balanced diet. Again, I don't do dairy. I don't really have fried foods, or I don't have soda. I don't have like different things like that. But every night I have dark chocolate. So,
you're like,
you know, like,
it's the balance.
It's the balance. I think like a trend that I do like is, for me, really works, is intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
So it's just a time window when you eat. It's not, and I'm not like super strict on it.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that if I'm consistent with the times that I eat and the times that I go to sleep, it's great for my digestive system. It's great for my body. It's great for everything. And then I find myself like, if it's 10 p.m., like, do I really need a cookie? Like, probably not. Sometimes I do, but it just makes you think like, oh, well, like, I had my meals and I had like all the nutrients I need, and if I'm craving something, I'll have it. But if most of the time I don't get hungry.
Yeah, in the mornings.
Like, I don't get hungry in the mornings, and I'm not hungry late at night.
Yeah.
So I'm just eating normally throughout the day, whatever I choose to eat that day, and it's really like helped me kind of just compartmentalize things.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
For sure. Well, it's funny you bring up keto because I tried it for a couple, like 2 months ago. I tried it, and I was sick. Like, I was so tired.
Oh yeah, there's like a keto flu.
It was awful. I hated it. Like, after that, I was like, I'm not doing this, because it was like I felt like a fog over my head because it was just such a bad crash on. I was like, I can cut out the sugar and carbs, and then I don't like coffee without creamer. That's just not my deal. And I'm like, it's not going to happen. And I think it's like you said, you have to find stuff that's going to work for you. But that, I was like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah, I heard about the keto flu. I mean, if you're used to eating carbs like every day, and then you just your body's gonna be like, what the hell is going on? And it makes sense if you really have like goals. But if you're just trying to like cut down and kind of like create more of a healthy lifestyle, I think the best way is to like approach it like one meal at a time.
Yeah.
Basically, like for me, it's like I need protein and I need vegetables.
Yeah.
That's like, those are my two main things when I'm going to prepare a meal. Like I want to have some sort of protein and some sort of vegetable.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of, following that for me really helps. And drinking a lot of water.
The water, it's so hard. It's easy to say, but it's hard to drink much water.
It is.
Like as much as like it is very true on that. So how has COVID affected your life right now?
Oh man. Well, I moved out of my parents' house and I moved in with my boyfriend, so I kind of had like a nice period of time to like adjust. Mm-hmm. But again, going back to, I haven't had like a real job, like a 9-to-5 situation, in a long time. Yeah. So for me, even when going back to my New York days, like I would work on the weekends as a clown. Yeah. And
as a clown?
Yeah, I worked as a clown. As a party entertainer. But I was a clown. And I would babysit and stuff, but it was mostly like weekend type of stuff. Yeah. So Monday through Friday, I had all the world to kind of do what I wanted to do once I got out of school. So I've always kind of focused on keeping a routine. Mm-hmm. So when COVID hit, I was like, routine, here we go. Like, luckily my trainer was doing Zoom classes. Oh, that's awesome. But even if she hadn't, I knew, like, for me, it's like, when I first wake up, I'm like, sunlight, hydration, movement. Those are my top 3. And so I was like, okay, every day I'm going to get up and kind of act as if I was doing my normal routine. The main thing that changed was, like, I wasn't coming to the studio. Yeah. And I wasn't going out for gigs. So I kind of had to supplement that time, like, okay, if I'm not doing that, I need to, I actually took like a vocal course and I tried different things. And I also kind of gave myself some grace of like, I was sleeping in a little bit. Yeah. Because I was, again, I get in these rhythms of like, go, 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 do as the most you can. And so I was like, instead of waking up at 6, I was waking up at like 8 or 7:30, you know, and I gave myself kind of like a grace period to be like, all right, let's figure out how I'm going to adjust to this. And throughout the months, it's definitely changed. Yeah. Like from starting to wake up early again and going back to the gym, which is amazing. And then creating my schedule from there. And my boyfriend works from home, so it wasn't like, what are we going to do today? It was like, you're on your own, do your thing. And so for me, I've always had like a routine. Mm-hmm. And I think that really helps me stay mentally sane, because then I don't have to just sit there and be like, what do I do? I'm like, this is my routine. These are the things I do. It's definitely changed a lot though. Yeah. I did not, at first I was like, whoa, like I was full speed ahead. Yeah. And so it was interesting to kind of slow down. Mm-hmm. But I think it was kind of like that when I moved from New York to here. It was that like, it was almost like God being like, you need to chill out for a sec. And I've always journaled, but I got back into journaling and I started taking like courses online and obviously started my personal training course, which is a lot of reading. I started reading a lot more. And then I was also like, well, creating more content and taking more times for videos and just like learning. It felt like a lot of like, this is an opportunity to learn for me. Yeah. But it's definitely been, I definitely miss singing live on stage and being more in that world as well. But it's like a give and take, you know, so you just have to work with what you have.
Do you get like the energy from the audience and all that?
I do, but I think, because I've sang like in different scenarios where I'm basically background music, but because I try to, you know, really be present for the song and the performance, I feel like people take notice of me. So I do get energy. It's so much better when it's like a big stage and it's like a concert as opposed to like singing in the corner of a restaurant. Yeah. But I've found creative ways to keep it interesting for me. Yeah. You know, because I get bored easily. So I'm like, how can I change up the song? If I feel like no one's listening, I'm like, I'm just going to do some crazy stuff right now. I don't even know.
Just
like,
to get your
interest. Just to like see, oh, you know what? I've never sang the song like this before. So I'm going to try it because no one's listening. So, or maybe they are. I don't know. But I've just tried to change it up for myself.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yes, thank you for having me. This is so much fun.